Oh God, baby, look at Bitcoin. This is Bitcoin here, right here, guys. It is blowing up, and I bet you want in on the action. What's up, team Tits and Pips? That's gonna be the new slogan here, the new intro. Team Tits and Pips, because we're collecting both of them, Tits and Pips. Right. So I know a lot of you guys have been messaging me saying, hey, how do we get into Bitcoin? A lot of real life friends saying, hey, how do we get into Bitcoin? And I'm like, hey, this is how you get into Bitcoin. Because I have experience trading Bitcoin in the past few years, and I have been accumulating Bitcoin since late 2018, since right around maybe 8,000 and below area. And then I've been buying somewhat recently, somewhere around $10,000 as well. And it's been absolutely blowing up for me. So I want to pay it forward, and I want to give you guys in on that insight. What I think is, as long as it's still under 20K, I think that's an incredible buy, because we're looking at sells all the way up to 80K and above. That's my goal here. I'm going to lay it right on the line for you guys right away here, so you get to the point. If you're looking to get into Bitcoin and it's currently rocketing in the new market cycle here, the markets, they do go into these cycles. We're going to talk about this in this video and how you're going to be able to take advantage of them, and at what point is it not worth buying anymore, and at what point are you still at a steal, in my opinion. I've been studying this stuff for years now, and I do have a really good experience with everything here. I've been watching Bitcoin very, very closely. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first of all show you how to know when to get in and know when to not get in, and then we're going to show you how you're actually going to be able to pick up that Bitcoin, and how you're going to be able to transfer around that Bitcoin, and how you're going to store it properly the way that I am storing it, because I do have a very large amount of money in crypto. I will not show you the actual account because I am a little bit paranoid, but I am using something called a ledger to hold everything because I am so paranoid. So you got to keep your money safe here, guys, and I'm going to show you exactly how you can do it starting now. Let's go. All right, guys, so right off the bat, let's look at the charts here. So it's really been rallying, and a lot of you guys are trying to FOMO into Bitcoin, and you guys are trying to pick up some steam. And maybe a lot of you are saying, hey, I should wait for a pullback here. And that's a really good idea. What I would say, right now, if you're watching this as a new viewer, I would say if you can get in around 14K or below, that's great. I don't have any expectation that this is going to really drop down way back here again. It's most likely not going to, and I'm going to discuss why. Pulling up just a chart on the Bitcoin 4-year cycles here, so I don't have to draw it out here for you guys. Somebody else has already kind of done the work, but I've also kind of done out the math for myself, and I do know the rough figures here. Right, guys, so just so you guys know, if you're not familiar with Bitcoin, there is something called a halvening every 4 years. And essentially what that means is the circulating supply of Bitcoin goes in half. If the demand of something keeps rising and the supply is going down, what do you think is going to happen? Well, obviously that asset is going to go through the roof. And so far, the past 3 halvenings have really caused some bullish action multiple months after, or a year after, the actual halvening event. So the halvening event has actually happened within this past year already, and we're starting to see how the market cycle tends to go. So usually if you're kind of looking at this, so this is the third halvening right now, and we see that it really rallied strong, and then we saw a pullback as it came close to that halvening part, that halvening checkpoint. After the halvening happens, we generally see the consolidation for a little while, and then another rally coming out of it over a long period of time. So it slowly picks up, starts gathering media attention, and then really explodes. And that's what happened in 2017 here. It's a little bit choppier in the early years here, but I believe there was another halvening at the very, very beginning that didn't really cause a whole lot of action here. But then we started seeing the structure of Bitcoin really poking its head out. And because the actual increase of Bitcoin is logarithmic, so it's the slower scale here, it takes longer and longer for these these cycles to kind of play out each time. So I think at some point a halvening will eventually not really do anything. That's just my assumption, because we're going to skip some halvening because the events of everything, the market movements, the amount of players in the market are going to slow down over time. And you just can't have the same action, the same impulse moves. So as you can see, the original Bitcoin here was incredibly impulsive, and it's kind of slowed down, and now it's slowing down even further. So what I expect is we're actually going to get a smaller percent increase. I believe last time, we can take a look here, from 2017 roughly, that's when we started seeing the impulse phase here, we got about 3,000%, right? And in the previous phase, if I do remember correctly, we got something around 5 or 8,000%, something like this. I am not going to go exactly back here because that's not the point of the channel, to give you exact numbers. The point of this channel is to give you some insights and tell you what you should be doing and what you should not be doing, so that hopefully you can follow. The point is, each cycle is going to get weaker and it's going to get slower. So this cycle, I would expect anywhere between 1,000 to 2,000% coming out from the bottom here. So let's assume that the bottom here was, roughly around 3K. We can say that 1,000% is going to give us roughly 70K, right? 2,000%, let's see, 2,000% is going to give us over 6 figures. As you can see quite clearly, that is an absolutely explosive move. It looks ridiculous now and you might be questioning it, but that's why I'm saying we should start getting out around 80K, because that's a safe figure for us to be investing on. If you're investing now under 20K, I think that's an amazing buy, because you're going to be able to at least 4x your money. If you're just doing Bitcoin and you're not investing in any of these altcoins, I will show you in future videos some things about altcoins. I will make some altcoin calls for longer term investments as well, so make sure you hit the subscribe button so you can follow along. We will incorporate a little bit of crypto into this Forex channel as well, because I know it's going to be booming, and a lot of you guys really need information on how to not screw up your accounts and get woke like me. All right, a bunch of jokes. All right. So I've done a number of different ways of viewing this, and I've looked at different things, and I've talked to different people, and generally the consensus over every single way I've looked at this, I can't remember everything and go into it all in details right now, but I've been doing it over the years. We're all seeing roughly around that 6-figure mark as our next peak. So that's why I want to get in and out quickly as possible here, and then we can sit at 6 figures, and then we can look for a pullback. Now, in terms of the pullback, we're going to be looking at a very, very deep pullback, and they usually pull back about 80%. Each time. You can look up the stats on this, guys. I don't need to give you the stats. I don't need to look it up for you. You could look up each market cycle. I believe there's been 3, and each time it's been somewhere between 70 and 80, 90%, something like that, of a pullback. So that means once we hit that 6-figure mark roughly, then let's just put that in here. You should see a pullback to about 30K, let's say, because it's going to be a smaller pullback in that next cycle, because every single cycle is going to get less impulsive in either direction. So let's say about 30K. So that's why I'm saying it's an amazing buy, because you're never going to see 20K again once it passes 20K. So then you're going to be looking for a rebuy at about 30K. That's roughly my guess. Don't quote me on this in like 4 years. And I'm thinking it's going to happen around 2022, 2023 as our absolute peak. That's just everything that I'm basically going off, and I'm summing it up very, very quickly here for you guys. All right, guys, so one thing I wanted to add here was just essentially how market cycles work in something like a stock market or a crypto market, where everything is impulse-based and everything's generally growing to the upside. This doesn't work as well in Forex, because Forex is essentially just trading currencies against each other. There's no actual investment to be had here in Forex world. But in the investment world, essentially what we have is, disbelief that there's actually going to be another cycle. It starts building up, and we're seeing some hope in the markets. People are kind of getting in on that action, and then it really goes into a parabolic euphoria phase and keeps going. I don't have to read all of these. And then we're getting into anxiety, denial, panic. We're getting mad and we're getting depressed that it's never going to come back. And then once again, you start with that disbelief. Another one that we can look at, it's just kind of how we have the mean of the investment going up over time, and it's all hype cycles. This is very much true with Bitcoin. So we have the smart investors. That's essentially what I am. We have then the institutional traders getting in, and then the public media phase. What you want to do is you want to get in before the public phase and then ride that wave. And then once we start seeing the topping, once we see good prices, we're going to be selling off right around this greed phase. Once you're feeling that euphoria, that's when you're going to start selling off. Once you're absolutely you're blown away by how much money you're making, that's when you start selling off. Or you start seeing minor pullbacks, things like this, start selling off. But you slowly sell off because you're never going to catch the exact top, and then it completely plummets. So let's look at how Bitcoin just reacts in the same way there. You can see an EJ trade that I'm actually currently in, and it's doing super, super well. So if I just pop up on the charts here, what we're seeing here, let's put on the daily. So this is essentially that first pullback that we had there, kind of that disbelief that everyone's talking about there. And then the public got into it and it exploded, and then it completely dropped. This is what's going to happen again. This is exactly what's going to happen again. And this is not that phase yet, because every single time we make absolutely blown away higher highs. Let's look at BLX. BLX is actually the larger one here. And I've just kind of plotted out what I think would happen here going into the next phase there. So if we zoom out, I've kind of plotted out, 85K as my level here. But as you can see, previous cycle, we hit 5K there. And the cycle before that, we hit 8K. And every single time it hits this massive parabolic move, and then it breaks back down, and then you have a period of consolidation. You have people saying it's just another suckers rally, and then it completely explodes. So once you're no longer thinking that it's going to completely explode, that's when it explodes. And that's exactly what people were saying here. They were saying that this is all garbage, it's all bull, and it's going to start breaking down, and they thought this was going to break down, but it kept rallying. So most likely it's just going to continue the same momentum. And let's just kind of look at this last cycle, what it looked like, right? Very much similar. We have those massive drops, and then it just continues up. Massive drop, continues up. Look at what just happened here, right? Right now. You can use anecdotal evidence all you want, but really we're just using projection. We have that massive drop there. We have right here a massive drop. And then it just keeps coming up. So most likely you're going to see a massive pullback and then that continuation. This is essentially how all market cycles work. If you understand how the market cycle works, we're in this first area here, kind of maybe going into the public eye very soon. But until we reach that 20K level, we're not in the public eye yet. Once we pass that 20K level, media is going to go absolutely bonkers, and that's when it's going to start exploding. So you want to get in below that 20K because that was the previous cycle's high. Now then, guys, there are plenty of places that you can buy Bitcoin. I'm not going to go into all of them. What I'm going to do is you can either go to Coinbase, and I'm going to leave a link in the description so that you can use an affiliate link of mine, just in case you want to give me a little bit of money, then go ahead. It's not a big deal either way. And there's also Binance, and make sure that you're actually getting the real site, because there are fake sites for these things. So make sure it's actually Binance. And both of these, I believe that you can buy them on some crypto on those. Certain countries are restricted in different ways, and there are different ways to buy Bitcoin in each country. In Canada, myself, I use something called ShakePay. That's my personal preference. Now, Coinbase is simply going to be an area where you can buy your crypto. All right, guys, so I just logged into a Coinbase account. I have absolutely nothing in here. So what you're going to do is you're going to go into trade, and you're going to have to add a payment method. You can add whatever you want, Visa, debit, something like this. There are other means that you can load more crypto somewhere else if these don't work for you. And then you can also sell if you did want to sell in the future. You can keep things on Coinbase. I really recommend that you do not, and you send them off. Right, so you are going to be able to send it if you click this send button here, and you can type in either an email that will send it to a Coinbase account, or you can type in the address of your Bitcoin. So you should have an address on the other end that looks something similar to this, and you want to make sure it's really a Bitcoin address, and then you type it in here, and then you click continue, and you go through all the steps and whatnot. I have no Bitcoin to send, so I can't actually do that. But this is how you would send it to Binance or your ledger. The Binance exchange is the one where we're actually going to be exchanging the tokens. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to send the Bitcoin that you buy onto Binance. So I'm going to log in, and I'm going to show you just a dummy account that I have here. All right, guys, so I have logged into an account, and what you're going to first want to do is make sure that you set up 2FA, and that's two-factor authentication. You can use an app called Authy, something like this, or Google Authenticator, and that's going to secure your account. So what you're just going to have to do is go into the security here and make sure that you set up the Google Authenticator. That's what I've done simply there. This way that nobody can actually log into your account, even if they have their password. They're actually going to need that authentication. So it's much safer because crypto, there's a lot more security concerns. So you do want to make sure that everything is in fact safe. Now you can also go through, and I would highly suggest that you set up things like a whitelist, so that when you do set up an address that you want to be sending coins to, then you would have to first whitelist that address and then mark it as a safe, trusted address so that nobody would steal anything from you. And then you can then send things from that. You're going to have to get yourself verified. You'll have to go through the verification process. This will be sending photos of yourself and everything to prove your identity and everything like that so that they trust you as a person. So when you do want to actually deposit money, you're going to go into the deposit here once you are all verified and everything. And as you can see, everything is just blanked out so that you can't actually see my balances. But then what you can do is you can go into deposit here, and you will search for a coin. We will look for Bitcoin. And what you're going to have to do is make sure you copy this exactly. This is the Bitcoin address. And this is all so that you can exchange your Bitcoin for other altcoins, and then you can trade as your free will, and then you can buy these altcoins. This is the best place that I found for buying altcoins. This is what I would really suggest you guys do because they have low fees and everything like this. So once you do that, what you're going to do is you're going to copy this, and you're going to go to whatever app you've bought that Bitcoin from, and you're going to send it out of it. Make sure that this is the actual exact code, because if you send it to the wrong code, you will lose all that money. If you are worried, send a small portion of that balance first to make sure that you're actually doing it properly. Make sure that you've actually got the right Bitcoin here. You're not doing Bitcoin Cash or something like that. It has to be Bitcoin itself, or you will lose that money. From there, guys, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be able to go into the trading panel here, and there's different versions of the trading panel. I'll just go on to the advanced one here. And I don't need to go into all the details here. I'm sure there's another video on how to use the actual Binance trading system and whatnot. As you can see, I got some Doge orders there that I just have planned to sell off here because I'm expecting the Doge to go up. But you can see, you can trade, you can buy, you can look for the different coins. Right, so here is where you're going to edit your actual pairs. So what you can do is, let's say we want to buy ADA. What we can do is then we can buy ADA with our Bitcoin, and then we have that in our new wallet. After you've actually made that purchase, you can go through and say, I want to set a limit order, I want to buy a market order, I want to buy it instantly, and then that will fill the order book, and then you can send that to where you want. Now, what I would recommend, guys, is that you get a ledger. So a ledger is one of these fancy smancy little boxes here, and all it is going to be is a cable and a little USB looking device. And this is where I keep all of my actual crypto because I am worried you do not want to keep it on any exchanges. That includes Coinbase, that includes Binance, that includes everything online. Don't keep large amounts of money on there. What you're going to get is you're going to get just a little device like this. What you do is you plug it into your computer. You install the Ledger app onto your computer. What's great about it is that you don't actually have to keep this exact same one. You could possibly lose this and then reuse the seed that they've given you to set up a new one, because it is all backed up onto the blockchain. So you don't actually have to worry. It's not actually on this device. So if you did possibly lose it, you can always get another one just in case this gets damaged, something like that. But it is a cold storage wallet, so there is no possibility that anyone hacks you. They cannot steal the money. They would literally have to know your password. They would have to steal this, and they would have to know the secret code on your ledger. So that is nearly impossible for everyone to get. So you are very, very safe in that sense. There, guys, I'm not going to actually log into my ledger because then you will see the actual account balance and everything that I'm holding, and I do not want you to see how much money I have there. But you can send money as you need. But how you're going to send money off of Binance onto your ledger is if you go back into the withdraw here, and every exchange is very, very similar. So you're going to be following pretty much the same rules no matter where you're sitting on an exchange. If you did have to use a different exchange for whatever reason, you go to withdraw. You are going to have to actually set up an account so you can whitelist the addresses here. I have some addresses here I just would prefer not to show. As you can see, I obviously have no Bitcoin on this account because everything is kind of blacked out there. And then you're going to put in that address. You're going to confirm it by email and everything like that. And then you should be safe, and you should be seeing that appear in your ledger within the next 30 minutes or whatever after you have actually sent that out. So again, guys, if there's any of the links that you need in the description, I will link the Coinbase, I will link Binance, I will link the ledger so that you can buy all of these if you do need to get to any of those sites. So it's nice and easy there for you. And if you guys want to subscribe, please do, because I will be releasing a little bit more crypto content and actually telling you what I think is going to be happening in crypto, because there is going to be a lot going on over the next 2 years. But this will be a secondary foot. My main focus will be on Forex community because the Forex is the better trading world. Crypto is much more for investments, long-term things like this. And that is my focus. And I will be able to make a large amount of money that way, and I would love to pass it along to you guys. So please make sure you hit that like button, and I'll see you guys next time.
Listen.